الذين آمنوا لهم عذاب أليم في الدنيا والآخرة. Those who love to spread vulgar things among the believers, for them a very severe punishment is prepared in dunya and akhirah in both. This ayah is actually very relevant to understand its background. Yani it is from Surah An-Nur. And you know the story that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam one time he was traveling and he was always taking one of the wives in his journey. So that time Sayyidah Aisha was with him and they have a station. Sometimes they stop for drinking water and some refreshing themselves. So the attitude of that time was that some person, suppose the camel, when it kneel down, so they go away from the place where the Sayyidah Aisha's camel was there. And it means that she will go little bit far distance and then she will come back. So it happened that she came back, but she lost her some necklace and she didn't find it. So she went back to search it. And people thought they said Aisha is in his camel. So it is little bit week of early morning, and they just started their journey. And Sayyida Aisha, when she came back, surprisingly the necklace was under the camel. So she found it, but she found nobody is there. So she was a little bit disturbed, but what she did, she covered herself with a sheet or something, and she slept. And it was a guidance from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that a person, and actually his name is Safwan ibn Asal, and his natural way was to sleep longer. He will not wake up earlier. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam appointed him on a position. He said, when we leave from some place, so you come after us. So maybe something lost, something is there, so you can get it and then you will join us. So when he arrived there, she noticed some kind of shadow. So Sayyidah Aisha was sleeping and she was little bit, her face was uncovered. So he recognized her and said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So Sayyidah Aisha woke up. So she said that time he recognized me because he saw me before hijab. The hukum of hijab came later, so he know me by face. So he did. He has his camel, so he just take it, and she said Aisha, took on that camel, and they joined and they reached. So the munafiqun, they got opportunity to spread something. They said, you know what, it was a planned. She deliberately little delayed, and this person joined her. And it means that other things, something happened bad. And this thing happened, and Rasulullah knew it, but Sayyidah Aisha knew it very, very late. She didn't know it, but she noticed that Rasulullah's attitude changed. He is not paying attention, he is not talking to her, she so. So one time, one lady informed her that this is the story. And she was so, surprised, shocked. So she came back to house of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and that time, so many days the wahi didn't come. And people were three groups. One, they were silent. One, they joined the person of Munafiqun Abdullah ibn Ubay. So they joined even from the Muslims. And Hassan bin Sabit and Hamna bin Jahash, the sister of Zainab bint Jahash. Said, look what is happening. So few days later, Rasulullah came to Aisha and he said, if you are committed sin, make tawbah, Allah will forgive you. Otherwise, so she said, inni ashku basti wa huzni ilallah. What Yaqub alayhi salam said, I am saying same thing. and I know if I admit and I didn't, but you will accept it, and if I don't say I said didn't, you will not believe me. So she was saying that time I was thinking that the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show something in dream to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But she was not expecting that the hukum will come in Quran. So Surah An-Nur is actually you can say a combination of few things. First thing, what is the hukum of adultery, right? How, suppose, for example, a person supposed to be punished, man and woman. But this should be a very, very documented proof. 4 witnesses supposed to be. And they say same thing, not change a word. Or she or he admit. There is a punishment for it. Second thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after in Surah An-Nur, administered, or you can say organized, the social life. Because, for example, when the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, La taqrabu zina, don't go closer to zina. So it not means, for example, I just read very close to it and say I will avoid. No, it is not. Just like say avoid the fire. It not means, for example, you touch it and then you will be safe. So in that sense, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala established social system. What it means, for example, our house is a private house. It should be allowed only for those who are about the relatives, mahram for women. And then there must be some kind of permission and some kind, for example, some kind of dress code, right? And many things. Why? To block and to just stop any kind of these things. Just a rumor should not be there. The second thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, just spread the marriage because it is a deterrent. It is a way to, for example, save from this kind of this thing. Even some people are poor or some are not able to do, but others are supposed to help them. And then one very special ayah in this place came here that those who are trying to spread some kind of bad things, even they are true. It should not be a standard of Muslims' attitude. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explained that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is pure and clean. So his wife will be also pure and clean. الطيبات للطيبين الخبيثات للخبيثين. Those who love some kind of bad things, and Quran says الزانية والزاني الزاني لا ينكح إلا الزانية المشركة. If some person committed a zina, this person will love his nature, her nature will go to do with mushrik or pagans, not with Muslims. So the purity of iman and purity of keeping sexual life clean is also connecting with pure person. So this ayah is in that relevance is very important. That if I am, for example, without even, for example, I got some kind of rumor or I have news that this person is doing so, it should not be my attitude to spread it. Why? Because 3 things. Either I go to this person and I ask him to do maktaba, or I go to court and I ask him, for example, to do this thing. But just like it involves the issue in society, it is the worst thing which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala considered. Now just see this ayah and see in our time what our media do, what our social media do, right? You go there, 1,000 and 1,000 stories, even not, and if nobody care about it from where it is coming, right? And they feel just like enjoying with it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when saying this ayah in that construct of the spreading rumor about Sayyidah Aisha, I think he clarified her. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُحِبُّونَ أَن تَشِيَ الْفَاحِشَةَ. Those who try to spread the fahisha, and fahish thing, anything which is exposed, which is clearly said. So suppose, for example, if someone is drinking or someone is doing this thing, my first job is to cover him, or to cover, for example, just like not to go directly to this person and say, don't do this thing. But it not means, for example, I just go to outside every area and the thing go bigger and bigger. And you notice one thing. Suppose a person said a small thing and the other person increase it and it goes up and up, right? Suppose a person say, I saw 2 people going, man and woman going side by side. Now the next one say I saw talking and I saw no touching and so on. So in that sense, the attitude of Muslim supposed to make himself or herself clean and see others also clean and make society clean. So suppose if the dirt is some part, right? Suppose here, dirt in washroom. So what I do, I spray it to whole masjid. That's not the idea, right? So in that sense, this ayah is not any something we can say, okay, it is just Rasul Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, no, it is actually happening in our society everywhere. And then so our tongue supposed to be clean by talking about this, our mind supposed to be clean about thinking about it, right? Our hair is supposed to be clean. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said there, what is the attitude of Muslim? He said, I supposed to seek Allah's forgiveness from this thing happen, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the best thing, so Abu Darda, he said, oh Darda, if you were there, and that person came to me, do you commit with him? She said, no. Then she said, oh Abu Darda, if you were the Abu Sufyan, you do this thing? He said, no. So he said, when we were not thinking about it, how we think about it? I said, Aisha, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Quran, why you are not thinking about yourself and that position? So it is, for example, the killing bad thing is not by spreading it. Killing is to, contain it. To, for example, to take a solution for it. So it is very, very important issue. And actually, this is one of the, you can see, and it has become our attitude. Suppose if you say something bad about someone, right? Suppose this person, very rude. Other person, yes, I notice it. And I know, for example, he was doing so and so. So a person will confirm it. But if you say some person is, mashallah, very good, he is attending masjid and is doing this thing, so no, he's showing off. So most of the time, our attitude is two-way. For good thing, we don't recognize it easily. But for bad thing, we easily. It should be opposite to it, right? And our husn zan, right? Doing husn zan is dealing with good assumption. It is our attitude. So in that sense, for example, this ayah is actually very, very important guidelines for everyone else. As the Quran says, وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ. Don't say what you don't know, right? And Allah subhanahu says, what are you saying? It is documented, and you will be asked about it, right? إِنَّ السَّمْعَ وَالْبَصَرَ وَالْفُؤَادَ كُلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. Everything is under accountability. And in these days, some people say, what is wrong? Say it. No, it is not easy. Word is come out from mouth, it is under accountability. Yes, if you have something in your mind, Rasulullah said, the Muslim are exempted from something which is talking themselves. Hadithun nafs, right? But when something come out, you cannot take it back, right? So in that sense, it should be our attitude that if we have some information, we should confirm it first, and we should reach to other people, those who are responsible for it or who can manage it. And if we have no real confirmation, we should not talk about it. And this should be, so for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah when he said in Sajjatul Wida, the dignity of Makkah, the dignity of Haram month is very, very important. But the dignity of Muslim is bigger than these things. Right? So in that sense, we should be, for example, very, very mindful about the picking a word from any mouth and just spread to others. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in hadith rawahu Muslim reported an Abi Hurairah, قال لا يستر عبد عبدا في الدنيا إلا ستره الله يوم القيامة. If someone saw something bad and he covered it in dunya, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cover him or her in the day of judgment. Maybe every person do something bad. Maybe something happened. Mostly this issue is related to some kind of minor things, right? Or something happened randomly, not what a person become, it's like habitual of it, doing every time. So then it is okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Quran, and those who are talking about those who لا يحب الله الجهر بالسوء من القول إلا من ظلم. If something happened bad and someone suffered from it, then you can expose it. So in that sense, this issue is always different aspect of it. But the first thing is that, just like suppose, for example, I give you here example in, suppose in Canada, we have no any kind of hudud. We have no any way to, for example, establish the kind of thing. If some person committed, so what do we do? We supposed to do two things. First thing, to keep it to yourself, right? And second thing, advise him or her to avoid, to stop, to not do it, to make tawbah, right? These two things. But we mostly, and we do thinking, oh, this person is doing so. And maybe this person did tawbah. Maybe this person feel bad. But now the person, and when something become kind of some kind of exposure, so maybe the person will continue. He will not leave. So in that sense, the satrul aura, aura means which is something which should not be exposed. It not mean only private parts. Anything, suppose for example, I got some knowledge about some information. Suppose something happening between husband and wife, they are fighting or something. So it is also to cover it, not to expose to others. So in that sense, the satrul aura or satrul and the private thing, covering it is one of the best thing a person can do, and he or she will get reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not expose him at the day of judgment. And also Abu Hurairah reported in his Bukhari and Muslim, كل أمتي معافا إلا المجاهرين وإن من المجاهرة أن يعمل الرجل بالليل عملا ثم يصبح وقد ستره الله عليه فيقول يا فلان عملت البارحة كذا وكذا وقد بات يستره ربه ويصبح يكشف ستر الله عليه. ستر الله عليه. My ummah means, for example, the all Muslims from the day of Rasulullah, of the day of judgment, everyone under forgiveness. Yani it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pardon may be given to every ummah, with conditions, of course. When person feel bad, do tawbah and say I will not repeat it, then it will be forgiven. Illa al-mujahirin, but those who talk about it in public, right? They expose themselves, so they will not be forgiven. So something happened, a person did something between in the night time, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala covered him. He didn't expose him. So now next day he said, oh, I did this thing. So this is mujahir. Mujahir jahar. Jahar means something which you do openly. In these days, the bestseller books, right? Among the bestsellers are biographies, right? And the best biography which a person talk about the sexual relation with this woman, this thing, and so on, right? And this is one of the things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may covered it. So in that sense, for example, exposure needed when it is legal issue. And this is the reason Rasulullah said, what is the line? What is line? The line is that he said a person came to him and he said, this lady, this thing, and so, please forgive her, right? So he said, listen, if you covered her and it didn't come to me and I didn't know about it, then you can do it. But when it comes to court, then there's no any shafa, there is no any help or any kind of thing. So it means, for example, in between a Muslim, it should be something. Maybe it not mean for the very bad thing happened, but many thing which is not supposed. A person, he is a very respected person, but it is something wrong thing or something which should not be. It is level. So it means, for example, you cover it. Especially the Rasul said, when you have some kind of very famous people or very noble people or position holder people in society, and you do some bad thing, so just like ignore it and just like avoid it. So in that sense, this issue is supposed to be an attitude of Muslims to keep society clean. And remember one thing, no era, even the era of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, was not, you can say shaitan was dead that time. Shaitan was active, right? And some people were committing. So the best strategy is, if someone is doing something in person, without exposing herself, it should be in person. It should not be in public, right? Because spreading it is not helping him or not helping the society. So you cannot kill the sin, but you can control it, right? Just like, in Corona time, if you say, okay, when it is Corona, okay, no problem, do it anywhere. So contain is also one of the strategy of about the bad things as well. The second thing is that باب قضاء حوائج المسلمين, to take care about the needs of Muslimin. Quran says وَفَعْلُوا الْخَيْرَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ, do khair thing, any khair, every khair is khair, and a khairat. Yani you can count the bad things in a list, very small list. These are haram. But the halal is list is endless, right? This is the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala counted what is prohibited. But beyond it, yani everything is halal. And the rule in Islam is that in dunya matters, right? Al-aslu fil ashya al-ibaha. The real position of everything is permission, except what is prohibited. But in the human relation, sexual relation, al-aslu fil bada'ati at-tahrim. Sexual relation in the original position is haram, except the permission by nikah. So in that sense, two rules, for example, live in this Islamic system. But to doing some kind of needs, some person is suppose he's very bitter position, or some kind of bad thing happened with him, or he needs some kind of support, maybe financial, maybe moral, maybe sometime the person is seeking some job, a person can helping him, or some person needs some advice, he giving him. So doing all kind of these things is one of the best service of Islam, which is equal to ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu reported, what is reported by Bukhari and Muslim, al-Muslimu akhul Muslim, لا يظلمه ولا يسلمه. The Muslim is a brother in deen with other brother of Islam. So what is the responsibility? لا يظلمه. He should not commit an injustice with this person. ولا يسلمه. And he not leave him alone. Oh, do your job. I don't care. Mind your own business. No. We should, for example, suppose what happening in Gaza, anywhere, what we do? Say, okay, let them do what they want. No. At least we do dua for them. At least, for example, we do good comments about them, right? But sometimes it happens that, suppose a person, he was committing a lot of sins. He came back and he became a good Muslim. Most of the time people say, oh, you are making show off. You were so and so, now you are posing yourself angel. So it should not be, but we support, say, okay, alhamdulillah, you are good, and alhamdulillah, Allah showed you the guidance, be good, and so on. So don't leave alone. Man kana fi hajati akhihi kana Allah fi hajatihi. This is most important. If you are taking care about some other person's need, Allah will take care about your needs. And we all cannot do our job with our thing. If we have no support of Allah, we cannot do. Even the breath is coming with the help of Allah, right? So in that sense, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَمَنْ فَرَّجَ عَنْ مُسْلِمٍ كُرْبَةً فَرَّجَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهَا بِهَا عَنْهُ بِهَا كُرْبَةً مِنْ كُرَبِ يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ. If someone, he was in very, bad position, or some kind of, situation which is making the life miserable, and you help this person, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make you to be relieved at the day of judgment. وَمَنْ سَتَرَ مُسْلِمًا سَتَرَهُ اللَّهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Same word which other hadith says, repeated here. And the other hadith is also same thing. So, but this hadith is adding one more thing. He said, مَنْ سَلَكَ طَرِيقًا يَلْتَمِسُ بِهِ عِلْمًا سَهَّلَ اللَّهُ لَهُ طَرِيقًا إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ. If someone is seeking knowledge, the knowledge of halal and haram, knowledge of ibadat, knowledge of good life, knowledge of helping others, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make the journey of Jannah easy. وما اجتمع قوم في بيت من بيوت الله تعالى يتلون كتاب الله ويتدارسون بينهم إلا نزلت عليهم السكينة وغشيتهم الرحمة وحفتهم الملائكة وذكرهم الله في من عنده ومن بطأ به عمله لم يسرع به نسبه. So if someone is suppose some groups are sitting to discuss about the Quran, study Quran, reading Quran, understanding the meaning of Quran, and then they are, so Allah will shade them, cover them with the sakina. Sakina is a kind of, some kind of peace of mind. And when we are living in this world, lot of, you know, afkar, lot of things coming disturbing us. Oh, what will happen with my job? Or what happen with my health? So people are going this thing. But when they are taking the study or reciting Quran, listening Quran, and so on, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will leave them away from their all kind of, different kind of disturbances. So sakina is very huge thing which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shade on those who are doing this thing, and the rahmah, mercy of Allah will cover them, and angels come around them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about them, those angels around Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they talk to him. They say, okay, these people are doing so. وَمَنْ بَطَأَ بِي عَمَلُهُ لَمْ يُسْرِعْ بِهِ نَسَبُهُ. If someone, he was lazy or he was very late, very slow in his amal, so his nasab, his relation with some high ranking, noble family, royal family, and so on will not help him in eye of Allah. This is something very surprising to know, that Allah subhanahu said in the Quran that those who are living in dunya, what will happen in akhirah? Allah subhanahu said, يَفْصِلُ بَيْنَهُمْ. All will be alone, right? The brother to brother alone, mother to father, everyone, nobody will take care about others. This is the journey of Qiyamah. Now a person say, oh Allah, I belong to noble family of Rasulullah, I belong to this family, I was from that, it will not help. But if the person has a noble family but noble amal, so then he will get 2 times support, right? Suppose he's from family of Rasulullah and he is also good. So then the nasab of Rasulullah will help him with iman, with amal, right? Just like suppose, for example, if you are in company and your company is very reputed and you are doing maybe not too much job, but your reputation with company will help you. But suppose if you are, for example, doing nothing and you are not connected with this country, whatever reputation this company has, you will not be helpful for it. So Rasul said, if the amal is not helping you to walk fast for Jannah, so then the nasab will not push you for that thing. And it means, for example, we should mostly we trust where we depend, and we have proud. We feel pride about, right, our family, about the sin. Yes, it's good, but it should be with amal. Without amal, it will not. Abu Lahab was the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but that didn't help him, right? But the Bilal, he was not from family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he's the most noble person. So the amal is criteria in ayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala beside all these things, but it is the major dividing line or successful point will be the amal of person. So these are the last thing I will do, shafa'a. Man yashfa'u shafa'atan hasanatan kan yakun lahu nasibu minha. If you do some recommendation for someone and it is good, so it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care about yourself also. So Abu Musa Ashari said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a person come to him to seek some help. So he said to his people sitting, he said, if this person don't reach to me, he is not able to reach to me, and he come to you, so bring his situation to me. Ishfa'u tu'jaru, and you recommend, you will be get ajr. وَيَقْضِي اللَّهُ عَلَى لِسَانِ نَبِيِّهِ مَا أَحَبَّ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to take whatever decision is good. This is one of the issue. Both things are there. Quran says, if you did something bad recommendation, suppose I have some connection with some high-ranking people, and some person is my relative or some very bad person, but I just ask him to give him position and so on. So shafa'a sayya, the bad thing also will bring the sin. But if some person really need and he is not able to reach to that person, and I go there and I do this thing, so it is one of the issue that you are getting the best reward. And this is actually needed in our time. Most of the time, it is not something I need to say, but sometimes it happens that there are 2 kind of people. You always note, especially when they reach to little bit high position, decision making position. So most of the time they feel some kind of, just like they feel arrogant. And they said, please don't come to me. You are coming only to ask me some help. I am not for this thing. I am not. This is not good attitude. The best attitude is the person said, yes, welcome. If I can do something, I can do. And it's not mean you are sure to do, but you can try. So the person who is trying to make his position or whatever Allah Ta'ala give him authority to serve others, it is the best thing which a person can do when he is holding some special position. And I notice always in society, you can see, you know that this person is a very person and he didn't allow to even to enter his room. Other person, he said to the person, any person come to me, bring it to me, and so on. So this person in the eye of Allah is best. And this is one of the shafa hasana, which is coming from the, for example, the source of deen. Jazakumullahu khairan. Thank you.